Life a million years ago was nothing like the world we know today. It was a time when Earth looked wild, untamed, and dangerous. A place where every day meant survival, and where early humans had to constantly fight against the odds to adapt and stay alive. There were no cities, no homes, no technology, and no safety nets. Instead, there were forests, deserts, icy lands, and dangerous animals that dominated the environment. For early humans, life was a daily challenge. Every step into the unknown meant facing nature's fury, learning how to live with minimal tools, and discovering ways to find food, water, and shelter. This period in history is fascinating because it tells the story of how humans became strong, resilient, and intelligent enough to survive in such a harsh world. The struggles of early humans shaped the foundation of human evolution and helped them transform into the beings we are today. In those times, the Earth's climate was unpredictable. Ice ages came and went, turning large parts of the planet into frozen deserts where temperatures dropped so low that survival seemed nearly impossible. In other regions, thick jungles and hot savannas stretched endlessly, full of wild predators waiting for the chance to strike. Early humans had no choice but to adapt to both extreme heat and unbearable cold. To survive in the freezing cold, they began to use animal skins as clothing and learned to build fires, not only to keep themselves warm, but also to cook food and scare away dangerous animals. Fire became one of the most powerful discoveries in human history, giving our ancestors a new level of control over their environment. Without fire, survival in cold regions would have been impossible, but with fire, they gained light, protection, and warmth, creating a small sense of safety in an otherwise hostile world. The food situation was another constant struggle. Early humans did not have farms, grocery stores, or any steady source of food. They relied on hunting animals and gathering plants, fruits, nuts, and roots. But even hunting was not easy. Wild animals were often stronger, faster, and deadlier than humans. Without proper weapons, chasing and killing them was almost impossible. That is why early humans began to create basic tools out of stones, bones, and wood. These tools gave them an advantage, allowing them to cut meat, break bones for marrow, or sharpen sticks into spears for hunting. With each passing generation, their tools became more advanced, and their hunting techniques grew smarter. They learned to hunt in groups, to set traps, and to cooperate with each other, which made them stronger as a community. Hunting was dangerous, but it provided meat, fat, and hides, all of which were crucial for survival. Plants, on the other hand, gave them a more reliable source of food, though they had to learn which ones were safe to eat and which were poisonous. This trial and error process sometimes cost lives, but it also expanded their knowledge of the natural world. Water was another critical need. Unlike us today, early humans did not have taps or bottles of clean water. They had to search for rivers, lakes, and streams to quench their thirst. Living near a water source became a matter of life and death. Water not only provided drinking supplies, but also attracted animals, making it a good place to hunt. However, water sources also came with dangers, such as crocodiles, snakes, or rival groups of humans fighting over the same resource. Despite these challenges, staying close to water gave humans the opportunity to settle temporarily, which was the beginning of the idea of community and territory. Shelter was also essential. Early humans could not survive out in the open all the time. Rain, wind, cold, and wild animals made it necessary to find protection. At first, they used natural shelters like caves, which offered safety and warmth. Caves became the first homes, places where families could stay together, share food, and protect each other. Later, as their knowledge grew, humans learned to build simple huts with wood, leaves, and animal hides. These shelters allowed them to move around and still stay safe at night. Shelter gave them not only physical protection, but also emotional comfort, a sense of belonging, and a place to return to after the struggles of the day. Another important factor in survival was the development of communication. At the beginning, early humans had no proper language. They relied on hand gestures, facial expressions, and simple sounds to share messages. But as time passed, they began to develop more complex ways of speaking, creating the foundation of language. This was a turning point in human history. Language allowed them to cooperate more effectively, to share warnings, to pass down knowledge, and to plan for hunts. It strengthened their social bonds and made them different from other animals. Through communication, they could tell stories, explain dangers, and create a sense of identity. The rise of language was one of the greatest tools for human survival and adaptation. The dangers early humans faced were countless. Giant predators roamed the land, from saber-toothed cats with deadly fangs to massive cave bears and hyenas. Humans were not the strongest or fastest species. They were vulnerable, but their intelligence gave them an edge. They learned to observe animal behavior, to track footprints, and to avoid unnecessary risks. They also discovered ways to defend themselves, using weapons, fire, and group strength. Slowly, humans turned from prey into skilled hunters, shifting the balance of power. Their survival was not just about strength. It was about cleverness, patience, and cooperation. As humans spread across different regions of the Earth, they adapted to new environments. Those who lived near coasts began to fish and use the sea as a source of food. Those in forests relied more on fruits and small animals, while those in open plains hunted large animals like mammoths and bison. Adaptation was the key to survival. Each new challenge forced humans to innovate, to discover new ways of living, and to pass on those lessons to future generations. This ability to adapt to almost any condition became the most important reason why humans thrived while many other species disappeared. One of the most fascinating aspects of this time was the development of culture. Even though life was hard, humans began to express themselves through art. Inside caves, they painted animals, hunting scenes, and mysterious symbols. These cave paintings were not only art, they were messages, stories, and possibly even rituals. They showed that humans were not only surviving, but also thinking deeply about their world. They created traditions, beliefs, and spiritual practices, which gave them hope and strength in difficult times. These early signs of culture separated humans from other animals and showed the beginnings of civilization. The journey of early humans was full of hardships, but each challenge made them stronger. They did not just accept the harshness of the world, they fought against it, learned from it, and turned it into opportunities. From discovering fire to creating tools, from finding shelter to building communities, and from simple sounds to full languages, early humans laid the foundation of everything we have today. Their story is not only about survival, it is about resilience, creativity, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity. They proved that even in the most difficult circumstances, humans can adapt and thrive against all odds. The journey of early humans continued as they moved across different parts of the world, facing new climates, new landscapes, and new dangers. Migration was not a choice, but a necessity. When food sources became scarce, or when climate shifts made one area unlivable, early humans had to move in search of better opportunities. This movement led to the spread of humanity across continents. Walking on foot for miles and carrying only the most essential belongings, small groups of humans set out into unknown lands. These migrations were incredibly risky, as they meant leaving behind familiar territories and venturing into new regions filled with uncertainties. Yet migration also opened doors to new resources, safer environments, and new chances of survival. Step by step, humans expanded their presence across Africa, Asia, Europe, and beyond, proving their ability to adapt anywhere on Earth. In these new regions, survival demanded creativity. In colder lands, humans made better clothing using animal skins stitched together with bone needles, providing warmth and comfort against freezing winds. In tropical areas, they adapted by using lightweight coverings or sometimes no clothing at all, allowing them to cope with heat and humidity. Their shelters also reflected their environment. In icy regions, they built stronger huts from wood, bones, and hides, while in open grasslands, they created temporary camps that could easily be moved. The ability to change and adjust lifestyles depending on the environment was one of the main reasons humans survived, while many other species eventually vanished. As time passed, early humans also grew smarter about food. They were no longer just random hunters and gatherers. They started planning their hunts, using strategy and teamwork. By coordinating in groups, they could chase large animals into traps, cliffs, or swamps, making the kill easier and safer. Some groups even learned to drive herds of animals into enclosed areas, a primitive form of managing wildlife that hinted at the early beginnings of animal domestication. At the same time, gathering became more systematic. Humans began to remember which seasons produced which fruits, where certain plants grew, and how to store nuts and seeds for harder times. These small but important steps showed that humans were not only living day by day, but also thinking about